So it finally happened to me. The one thing we Americans hear about Europe quite a bit. I got pickpocketed. I'm actually the second one in the family that's got pickpocketed. My son got pickpocketed last year. But mine happened in a way that I found surprising and I think a lot of people don't know about. So I thought it'd be worthwhile talking about it, and maybe that'll give you some ideas on how to avoid it if you come to Europe. So it started with a trip to Barcelona to attend my niece's wedding, which was an amazing wedding, by the way. Had a blast despite what happened. And anyway, I had booked an Airbnb for all of us, for myself and the kids. And it seemed like a nice Airbnb. It wasn't a bad Airbnb in and of itself. But I did go a little bit cheap on the price, and the neighborhood wasn't the best. Anyway, we arrived late at night and woke up in the morning and I went out on a foraging trip for some coffee and croissants, and I did go ahead and purchase those. And the Airbnb was in the Las Ramblas neighborhood, and as you likely know, a lot of Grenoble, especially the older neighborhoods, are kind of like a maze. They're very easy to get lost in. So I went and got the coffee. I found I'm going to say boulanger, but whatever, as a bakery. Bought some coffee and croissants. Had my hands full on the way back, and had my phone out with the GPS, and looking for my way back to the Airbnb. And the GPS was glitching a bit, and I was got a little bit lost. Passed by the apartment, reverse direction, passed by it again. And in the process, I passed by these three men, two of them drinking beers in the morning. That looked a little bit suspicious, but not anything different than what you typically find in a downtown. And anyway, I knew I really didn't like it when my GPS told me to go by that reverse direction and go by them again. So on that, I think I talk about it a little bit, but later. But one of them broke off to follow me, and he was, one of these kind of street urchins that was offering his help and assistance in helping me find the apartment. And I was telling him, no. Of course, this was all happening in my broken Spanish and his Spanish, and I was telling him, no, I don't want that assistance. Anyway, I was actually a bit more forceful about that. As he persisted, I was telling him to keep his distance, to back off, leave me alone, that sort of thing. But before I get into the demonstration of what happened, I just thought I'd mention, I think the reason it caught me by surprise and I allowed myself to get pickpocketed, even though I knew this guy was bad news, is because I have always been focused on I think what many of us are, is the type of pickpocket where you're on a crowded bus or in a crowded train station, or somebody you never see sneaks up and lifts something from your pocket or your backpack. Or the other thing that I'd heard about is, when somebody approaches you at your table and you maybe have your cell phone up out on top of the table, which as a reminder is not a great idea. And they they maybe they're asking for change, or maybe they're whatever the approach is, but they slip some paper. They have a piece of paper or some object that they kind of extend out over where your phone is, so that you don't see their hand remove that phone. So that's one of the other techniques I'd seen. I'm going to call this the mugging the mugging style pickpocket, because it's a little bit more assaultive, I would say. Involves physical contact, and the physical contact in of itself, and the way it's done in a pretty aggressive manner, serves as a distraction, and you're kind of focused on in my case, I was focused on their foot because it looked like he was trying to do something with his foot, and I didn't detect at all that my cell phone was getting, and that's what got stolen, my cell phone, that my cell phone was getting removed from my body. I was looking like a big fat American tourist, like big fat chicken ready to get plucked. Hands full. I'm actually wearing his clothes, and when I passed him a third time, one of the guys sort of broke off. He started doing the whole, in Spanish, can I help you? Can I help you find where you're looking for? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And he just wouldn't break off. He kept at it. Finally, I find my apartment, the Airbnb that we're staying at. I told him back off. A couple times I had told him back off because he was getting too close. And I put my key in the door, wear the same pants. In fact, actually, let me get this cell phone. This is my old cell phone. And at that point, I think I either put my cell phone here or maybe in a back pocket. And because I had my hands full, I probably should have set it on the ground, and took out the key and put it in the door. And I opened the door, and then he does this weird thing where you stick your foot out in front of me, and like he's trying to jam his foot in the door and not let me close it on him, or trying to get in. Anyway, I react to that, and then what did I do? I think I just I'm like sort of pushing with him a little bit. And then he backs off, and backs off like this. I think he put his hands in the air and I don't know. It was just weird. Anyway, I go in, it's a hallway. Our Airbnb's up a couple flights of stairs. I go in, go a few steps, and I realize my phone's gone. Start searching myself crazily, search my bag, check my wallet, it's still there. Go running back out into the street, he's gone. And run one way, of course. I see the two dudes that were with him towards the end of the street, but I don't see him. Then I run to another direction, he's gone. Well, we all know that I had no chance of getting the phone back. And at this point, I run up, I tell my family what happened. My engineering consultant here helped me do the Find My Phone function on Google, do the erase data function, and anyway, we spent like the next, I don't know, hours and hours trying to change passwords on bank accounts, trying to get a hold of bank accounts, and the rest of it. Anyway, after it happened, my son, who's pretty computer literate or technology literate, helped me try and shut down do the Find My Phone function on my laptop through Google, and then there's an option in that to secure your data or erase your data, and we did that. It's not entirely satisfactory since there's no way to confirm that it actually worked. But anyway, we were able to do that, and then I just proceeded on the big task of changing all my passwords and all my accounts and monitoring my accounts. And I think in Europe, even more than in US, online banking, everything you do is cell phone centric. So a lot of these things are made to work only on your cell phone, or primarily on your cell phone, and not so much your laptop. So there were a couple of banking, and then everything, the two-factor authentication or authentication, whichever it is, happens typically through SMS on your phone. So without the phone, I was at a disadvantage in protecting my bank account. So that took me hours to deal with. Yeah, and then also remember to call your phone company if it happens to you and shut down the SIM as soon as possible. In the future, another thing I'm going to do is create some sort of tether. I'm still kind of weigh out the options, whether it's a shoulder strap type of phone case, or whether it's some kind of tether to my pocket, or some kind of wrist strap. In fact, I bought this thing online to stick my phone into. I haven't decided whether I like it or not, but the reason I bought it is I already had a wrist strap on my phone, but I rarely kept it on because I only used it when I was actually using my phone in hand, and it would, it was nice in that it was less likely to drop my phone, but when I wasn't using the phone, I couldn't just leave it dangling there. So I took it off and put it in my pocket, and that's what happened on this occasion. So yeah, I'm going to put a lot more focus on not keeping, when traveling, not keeping my wallet in just a regular pocket, but using some kind of a wallet or container that you can wear under your clothes, and that straps a little more securely to your body or your leg or something, a money belt, for example. And probably the final thing is, I think I'll spend the extra dollars and get a little bit better accommodations in a better part of town. So as a sort of final summation, I would say, do continue to be wary of the more traditional forms of pickpocketing. Last year, I should have mentioned it right off, but the way my son was pickpocketed was on the tram. A man sat next down to him and was a bit close and made my son feel uncomfortable, but as a teenager, he didn't want to offend the person by moving away. So even though the guy seemed a little bit invading his space, my son continued to sit there, and then as a result, his wallet was stolen. So, that's the more traditional way. This way, but keep in mind, even though you already pick someone out as being a potential criminal in this sort of assaultive method, you even by being wary of that person, you can still find yourself a victim to being a pickpocket. And when this person does assault you, you tend to be focused for your physical safety more than it completely takes your mind off of being pickpocketed. So you do have to be very wary of that. Very wary of letting anyone get close to you, get into your space, and if they do, like they did in my case, because I was already wary of that, react much more forcefully, I would say, either in getting away from them or in pushing them off. Be very aware that don't get distracted, because that's what they did with me. They used their leg as though they were trying to trip me, and that's what I was, or force their way in the door. And that's what I was focused on. So when they lifted my phone out of my pocket, I was completely unaware of it until I had walked a few steps indoors and they had left, and then I noticed it was gone. Oh, and one more thing. This has made me completely reevaluate what functions I'll keep on my phone. I'm going to try to remove all banking apps from my phone. It's made me reevaluate how I'll do two-factor authentication. I believe that I haven't figured that one out, since either way, SMS or emails both come to my phone. But perhaps that's not a problem if I don't have the banking apps on there. And then also in terms of downloading private documents, particular documents that involve personal identification or financial information, I will either not download those at all, or I will erase them as soon as I download them, and periodically do a cleansing of my folders on my phone. I haven't detected any damage yet or any attempts to get into my bank accounts so far. So hopefully, and I've changed all my passwords. So hopefully we're out of the woods. Hopefully, all they wanted was the phone for resale, and it's hopefully been cleansed. All data has been erased. Hopefully, the Android function of erase data worked, and hope to avoid the situation in the future. And I hope my experience helps you avoid a similar experience.